Christos Anesti, Christ is risen. This is Father Jonathan. I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to conclude our series on the fruit of the Spirit as examples of Christian virtue. And we conclude today with what, as I said yesterday, the Fathers declare as the chief of the virtues, the crowning jewel of a virtuous life: love. And why is that? Why is love the most important virtue? It's because it encapsulates all the virtues. Without love, without true love, how can I be gentle or kind or good or patient? What would motivate me towards self-control? For not doing harm to others? Love is everything. And why is that? Because God is love. This is the shortest definition of who God is in the whole of the scriptures. God is love. And we are called to participate in God, to partake of the divine nature which is ultimately love. For God is a community of persons in love: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. God is relationship. The relationship between the members of the Trinity is bound together in the reality of love. And so love is divine, because God is love. Which is why when asked what the greatest commandments are, Christ says multiple times, the greatest commandment is to love our God with all our heart, our mind, our soul, and our strength. And a second commandment is like this: to love our neighbor as ourselves. Now, this is important because of what St. John says in his epistle. He says, how can we love God whom we haven't seen when we do not love our neighbor whom we have? So love is a quality that we need. And we are called to love God, but we cannot love God if we do not love our neighbor. That's how important this virtue is. And so with everything that we do, everything that we strive for, we're striving to peel away those things that are preventing us from loving authentically. Whether it's self-control so that we don't do harm, or gentleness so that we don't react harshly, or goodness so that we do what's right, or kindness so that we treat others from that goodness, or patience when life circumstances are difficult, or people are trying our patience. All of these prepare us to love. They help us cultivate love. And as we grow in love, these things are easier to do. It's like a cycle. This is our great task as Orthodox Christians. This is the task of our spiritual life, to become love. For we are called to become by grace what God is by nature. To orient towards God is to orient towards love. To participate in God, to have communion with God is to love. To be God-like, to be Christ-like, is to be love. This is our call. In times like these, we're reminded exactly what love is. It is to do for others, to sacrifice for others, to do what Christ did on the cross. Though he had no reason to be crucified for anything that he did, he died for us. He sacrificed himself for us. For no greater love is there than this, for one to lay down his life for his friends, for those he loves. That is love. Which is why in these times, it's so important that we remember why we're doing what we're doing. Why are we not going out? Why are we staying at home? Hopefully, it's because of love. We listen, hopefully not begrudgingly, because we recognize that we could do great harm by being out with others, even if we ourselves do not get terribly sick. we could transmit. But at the same time, we have to be mindful that people are suffering. And so we need to be loving and kind and gentle to people. We need to guard our mouths. Say nothing if we can't say anything positive. These are realities of what we're doing. These are the realities of the circumstance we live in. To love is to be and to participate in divine life. We should always strive for that. Now, this concludes our reflections on the fruit of the Spirit as examples of virtue. I might return to the topic of virtue in the future to speak about those that we haven't already spoken about, or to speak about the ones we have again, because it's ever important. But tomorrow we will begin a new series on one of my favorite sections of the New Testament, coming from the Sermon on the Mount in the Gospel according to Matthew. We'll begin a conversation around the Beatitudes. Blessed are the, and we will see precisely what this teaches us about how we ought to be in the midst of the world. God bless you. We're here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Christ is risen. Christos anesti.